Welcome back to the One Shot Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Vincent.
And I'm Johnny. Welcome back to the show. We have a very interesting movie for you guys today. I'm excited to talk about it, and we have a really great guest. So introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Noah. I'm also a college student. I'm a good friend of Johnny's and a new friend of Vincent's.
Yes.
I can't wait to jump into this one. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, this is part 2 of this recording. We tried to record this back in May. Right now it's February.
Yes.
And we recorded the entire episode last like 5 minutes.
No, not even. It was like the whole hour.
We were almost done.
It was like the whole hour video that was, I guess, corrupted because while we were recording, out of nowhere, my power just flickers on and off. My computer shuts down. The recording is done. I was so mad.
And it was such a good episode, too.
It really was.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. It was right after the semester ended, I believe.
Yeah.
Or like the last week.
We just got home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the last one.
Yeah.
So that was so frustrating because it was such a great episode. And now we're here months later, and we're excited to talk about this movie again.
Yes. But before we get into it, on this show, we break down movies and we rate them on 3 different scales: acting, plot, and overall. But also, I do want to say, please stay up to date with our social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. I always forget Facebook.
Yeah.
Instagram is One Shot Movie Podcast Official. TikTok is One Shot Movie Podcast. Twitter is One Shot Movie Pod. And Facebook is One Shot Movie Podcast.
Yeah. So stay tuned and updated on all those so you know when we post new things, because almost every day or every other day we post little clips of the show. Yes. So yeah, it's just good to have.
Also, if you want to become a patron, you can go to Patreon. It's in our Instagram bio.
Patreon.com/OneShotMoviePodcast, I think.
I think. I don't know if we actually have a set URL yet, but if you want, go to our Instagram bio.
Yeah. So today's movie is Tenet. This is a very fun movie. We have differing opinions on the show here.
A lot of differing opinions.
Yeah. So this movie has a PG-13 rating, and it was released on August 12th, 2020. So right at the right at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
It was when movie theaters were opening back up.
Yeah.
So that's why Christopher Nolan.
Because I remember I went to go see it in theaters because my friends were like, "Oh, it's gonna be such a good movie. It looks so action packed. It was so good. It's gonna be amazing."
It was hyped up.
And yeah, so we'll talk about that more.
Yeah. So this film, obviously, the runtime is 2 hours and 30 minutes. It is a action/sci-fi genre. And would you want to read us the plot here?
Yeah. So the plot of this movie is a secret agent is given a single word and a gesture as his weapon and sent to prevent the onset of World War III. Okay. He must travel through time and bend the laws of nature in order to be successful in his mission.
Okay, so after reading this now, it makes a lot more sense to me. This confused like the shit out of me in the beginning. I didn't know anything. I didn't know why this was named Tenet or anything, even after the first watch, even though I loved it. So basically, Tenet and the certain gesture it's referencing is it's this gesture, and he says the word Tenet in a sentence, and they said it can either unlock doors, unlock possibilities that you like, or possibilities, or it can unlock a door that you don't want to go through. So basically, like,
that's a good line too.
Yeah, it was pretty dope once you like fully understand like it. And like I said,
did you guys watch this movie together? Are you just here to gang?
He watched it last night.
I watched it last night.
I watched
this
both
morning
separately, and
I was
watched
gonna say,
like 3
you guys
YouTube
here to
videos.
just like gang up on me today?
No. It was just like something that connected. Like once you read that, I was like, oh, this makes so much sense.
Because you both did the
yeah.
same time, and I was like,
but like after watching
oh
it,
no,
it was so funny how you notice it after they pointed out, like after the second or third time watching, and you go, okay, this is why they're just like randomly awkwardly doing this and saying the word Tenet in a sentence.
And now I actually seeing that at the end of the movie, you see him sitting in the car after he killed or while he's talking to the woman, and he's
Priya.
Yeah. He's just sitting in the car with his hands like this, which is very interesting.
And a little like fun fact, I guess we could save it for Easter eggs, but I just want to point out now it's so obvious. Tenet is spelled the same forwards and backwards.
Yep.
And what is that called? An allegory? Or what is it?
That's a big word. I don't know.
I'm not sure. But either
there's
way,
a specific term for it.
There is. Yeah. It's the same thing as like if you say "damn it, I'm mad" backwards.
Yeah.
Damn it, I'm mad.
Yeah. I just think that's kind of it was a really smart idea by the director and the the people who created this film, Christopher Nolan, obviously. But I just feel like that was so smart because there's people in this film obviously going forwards in time and people who are going forwards and then backwards. So I just feel like that was just a really, really smart thing to do.
I don't even know like the real word for it because like you literally are going backwards in time. Like it's reversing time. It's not like you're like going back in time like Back to the Future type stuff. Like, it's like
I can't remember how he described
it.
Inverting.
Inversion.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just so fucking confusing. Like, I can't
totally.
keep up with it. Every time they try to explain it, I'm paying attention. I'm listening.
Yeah.
But I feel like fucking brain dead when they say it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you even talking about?
Closed captions were really great for this movie, too.
Still, I had them on.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what the fuck was going on.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I know it enough, but like still there were some lines where I was like, okay, like I generally know what they mean, but if you sat here and was like, explain this part of the movie, there's a good chance I would probably just sit here and be like, it just makes sense somehow. I don't know.
But like my thing is like, okay, even the bullet scene, like she was like, you have to drop the bullet first. I'm like, but he didn't.
That's
he
the
just
thing.
fucking,
Yeah.
I'm like, how does it work?
Yeah, it's about like reversing the action. So as long as you like felt that in the past you did it, or like if you had the need to like drop the bullet, it's
so confusing.
But
like
confusing.
When you rewatch it the second time, it makes so much more sense.
No, it doesn't.
But the first time I watched, I'm like, I was confused, like how you feel now. I was like, what do you mean he has to like grab it? He clearly didn't put it there. This
is my third time watching it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Oh, the thing with that is also the bullet is inverted. His hand isn't.
Right.
So he doesn't necessarily need to do, like, he doesn't need to be inverted. It's just about, like, okay, the bullet thinks you dropped it. So, and it's inverted in time. So that's the only way for it to move is backward. So you have to act like.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But that's only for the bullet. Like,
the
he wasn't
way
going
they
backwards.
described it doesn't.
It's meant to be super confusing, I think.
The beginning is terrible. That's why I love, like, there was random lines throughout the movie where, like, Robert Pattinson and
John David Washington.
I was going to say Joe, and I was like, no, it's John. Okay, so John David Washington and Pattinson were both just, like, sometimes you just see them, like, you could tell that this line is definitely planted just for the audience to make more sense of it.
Yeah.
So he's like, so what is, like, the point of this? Or, like, what is, like, the point of the time? Like, it's like they were in a freight truck or, like, on the freight boat, whatever.
Yeah.
And he just was randomly just dropping random questions just to explain it.
Where he's sleeping.
And it was like,
He was like,
But
can I go back to sleep now?
That was with
exactly.
like 20 minutes left in the movie.
Yeah.
So it makes sense
it
even
leaves
more,
you
but it's like
wondering.
towards the end.
Yeah.
I love it, though.
So what do we think about the pacing of this film? Is it
too
I know
fast?
you have a ton of opinions here, but I'm curious to see what you think of it.
I fucking love it.
Was it too fast?
I know he thinks it's too fast, and I would agree. But, like, I know we keep going back to it. Once it makes sense, the pacing is, like, beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's obviously the pacing of a regular movie, just, like, going through time.
It's linear.
It really, this one's fucked up because you have to go forward and backward, and it's like that's where the pacing gets weird because it's like they literally have to follow time backwards. Mm-hmm. So the reason like some sequences may be either too fast or too slow is because they literally are just doing stuff backwards to like show it. And like that's what I loved a lot about like the scene where the protagonist is dressed up in like the full black like military gear with the mask. And he's like going back. We saw the entire fight again, even though we know what the result was and everything. So it was like that was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. But in the beginning, when you see it, you don't know who this other character is.
Yeah.
And then when you see it the second time, it all like clicks.
Yeah. And the best part is that there's two of them.
I know.
You see the fact that he goes through the machine twice because it has to.
Yeah. And
it's nuts.
It also gives you that satisfaction when Neil says he takes care of the other guy.
Yeah.
He knows. Clicks,
well, we all knew because we saw it.
Right.
Yeah. In the beginning.
So it's just there's things in this movie that were done so well that I have to bring up because there were certain points where you're like left really confused and you're wondering like how does this happen? How does this happen? And then throughout the film they go through it and then they go back and it explains the questions that you have and gives you all those answers for the most part. Obviously stuff like I'm still like a little confused on, but like I'm starting to understand it, even though I've seen this 3 times now. over the last couple years.
I mean, I think they crushed the pincer maneuver.
Yeah.
That is the
that
coolest.
was really good.
It's obviously not a real thing, but the war tactic.
Yeah.
And that is very confusing. I will back you up on this one. I had to rewatch
The final
the
fight.
final scene. I had to rewatch. Like I had to go back even with this.
I'm just gonna throw my note
My
because the thing is with this movie, I'm just so fucking lost. But like, okay, so I did like the final fight because that's the
cool.
part I actually understood.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
Well, that's because
he's
they
got
explained
that,
it really
they got-
well.
Yeah.
I was like, they got the reverse, so
Yeah.
they're leaving while they're coming in, and I was like, okay, I get this, but at the same time, I think the different like perspectives of each like team was confusing. I think it made it a little too confusing.
When they switched it, yes, I agree.
Mhm.
I think there were some cases in that final scene, or that
Where you
whatever,
weren't
that
sure
final-
what's blue, what's red. Is that what
Yeah,
you're trying to say?
Yes, but also there were a few scenes that made sense, like where they shot the rocket
building?
launcher, the building. Yeah, where
was just
that
so
was
cool.
really
That was
cool
awesome.
and
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Definitely.
there were just other things that were just like,
In that same scene.
yeah, in that whole sequence, it was like, what is going on? Like, what happened?
Yeah, no, that's
No, yeah.
fair. I agree.
This is where like I would be like, I understood it more because we had to. The only reason we had to see both in the same time is because we had to see Robert Pattinson,
Right.
aka Neil, go through this and then realize, oh, I have to go and switch to basically what the red team would be doing.
Right.
Would be
And
going
go back
forward
and
in
help.
time. Like he was going backward in time, but he had realized he had to go forward in time. So he had to switch. So that's the only reason why I understood. But once he switched, I didn't need the rest of the blue team. We knew they were going to do their job
Right.
Yeah.
because they're in the past. So
Yeah.
it's like you don't need to see the rest of the blue team once he switches. Because
Right, but they still were like, they still tried
Yeah.
to show us that, and it's
They
like,
did.
well,
it was
we
like,
didn't need it.
Yeah.
Like, just keep it in a forward motion
Exactly.
right now.
Yep.
One thing that I want to mention about that scene, pretty much the entire movie, but more specifically narrowed down is that exact scene, the fighting scene. The blue team that was going from the past backwards, they already knew that they were going to win that fight.
I love it. I love that
So
part too.
I watched the YouTube video that you talked to me about.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
watched it. Well, actually, I was in the bathroom at work, and I wanted to take some more time. So
TMI, John.
I pulled up this video and I was watching it, and it explained this so well that the blue team knew that they were going to win, but they had to live it out going backwards because they had to help the red team win.
because what has happened happened.
Exactly.
And that's
And you can't go back and change that.
that's my favorite
Yeah.
part of the whole movie is right at the end
Yeah.
when you realize the protagonist is upset because he knows what Neil is going to do.
He's gonna
Because
die.
he's gonna die. He's
Right.
gonna sacrifice that. That is the end of his life at that moment. But the best part is his life technically hasn't even begun because Neil is from the future.
Yeah, that doesn't
So,
make
like-
sense to me.
Well, that's
I'm
because
so
he went
What are you-
so far back in the past. Like he had to rewind. I don't know how he did it, but it's the same way that they got
Yeah.
this technology from the future. They just rewinded in
See,
time
that's
and
the
hit
thing.
it.
That's the thing. The technology from the future doesn't add
yeah,
up.
no,
It-
I
it's
get
not
that.
giving me a Back to the Future feel where
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Doc writes Marty the letter and like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guy goes,
Yeah.
"Are you Marty McFly?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he he reads
No,
the
yeah.
letter. He goes, "The Doc's alive." Like it doesn't
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sense.
No, yeah, I get
the
it.
way that I think they explained it was when is it Victor?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's Andrei Sator.
When they explain it a bit with Andrei. Andrei, in the future or the present time, quote unquote, he goes back in time and plants these things for his younger self when the
Well,
Soviet
they
Union
actually-
crashes.
They actually said it wasn't even him. They said it was just people from the future.
Oh, okay. So
They
people
said he
from
was
the
chosen because he was the
Yeah.
right person at the right time.
Right.
Yeah. So they planted that so he can start his journey. So I feel like that helped me kind of
Yeah.
understand it. They brought those things from their time into the past and planted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
then
exactly
he just
what
goes
they
and
did.
finds it.
But that's the thing
Mm-hmm.
is that they knew he'd be there because it's a nuclear site. No one else is going to be there, and he signed up for the cleanup of it. Like
Yeah.
once
Right.
it happened, and that's why they chose him. Like I remember they showed the cutscene when he got the plutonium on the yacht.
yeah.
Showing like he was talking about how he's like it's the right person, right time. Like this is how it worked.
Right.
And it showed when he opened it, it said his name. It said a whole list of things. It had just plutonium, just racks
Yeah.
of plutonium
Yeah.
to make him look rich. And he killed the other person. He said, I was
With the
just the
shovel?
lucky one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like the reason that all this stuff is hidden and we can't find it. Like, I'm speaking in hypotheticals, obviously, because like if this was a real thing, the one place people can't go is to a nuclear site or like a abandoned nuclear. Like
Right.
I don't know one on hand that people haven't gone to, but they're definitely a real thing. So they like bury the tools to build these things on those sites, and it explains, and they also bury it with like lists of instructions of like everything.
Yeah.
And since they put that stuff through their machine, it goes through time just like by itself almost, with like the intention of it being thrown back in time. It's a mind fuck.
It
I know,
is. It is.
But
that's just how
like,
this movie is, though.
That's the thing. Like they're burying it, and they're like kind of, I guess, training it to go back in time by itself, to like know that it's meant to be there, because they inverted the thing that it's in, and it's like,
yeah,
it's so weird. I know. Like,
I feel so dumb right now. Like I just
I understand both sides of it, because I'm starting to understand majority of it, but there's still so many things that I'm like, I kind of get it, but like I feel like I don't get it at all.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm in between both of you.
Yeah.
I'm just in love with this movie. I love it. I think I loved it before it came out. I was like one of those people that was on the hype train. Came out, didn't understand it too much, but I was like, oh, I still like it. And I was like, talking with people about it, and I just like was trying to get it while talking about it. But now the more I like it, I think this is actually a 5-star movie. And I think that's nuts. That might be nuts to say for some people, but for me,
I could see it though.
I totally love it. It's not Christopher Nolan's best. I will not say that. But it's definitely a top.
I actually
top 3, top
heard
5.
that. Actually, Jason, he was like, "So, have you seen any Christopher Nolan movies?" I go, "Yeah, I've seen Tenet." He goes, "That's probably the worst fucking one you could have watched."
Probably.
And he goes,
I'm gonna have to call bullshit. Dunkirk kind of is so boring to me. I don't know.
I never saw that one.
Jay said he loved Dunkirk.
Man, it's just another war movie.
Same with I think he said 1917 was really really.
1917 was good.
That
is
one
that
I
Christopher Nolan?
I haven't. No, I don't think so.
No, that one was good. It's just like, I don't know, Dunkirk.
Did Dunkirk have Harry Styles? Or was that 1917?
I think it was 1917 because I don't remember seeing Harry Styles in Dunkirk.
I know
Dunkirk had Tom Hardy. Briefly.
Yeah.
Okay.
1917 was the one that was all done in one shot.
Yeah. And that, there you go. that was a good one. That 1917 was a really good one, actually. I actually really did like that one a lot more than Dunkirk. Dunkirk was just like you've seen that same event 50,000 times kind of thing. And it's like, all right, whatever. Tom Hardy's cool in it. I don't really remember many people,
I like
Tom Hardy as an
he's
actor.
great.
So speaking of actors, let's jump into the cast of this film. I know I don't want to spend a ton of time on it because there's a big cast
That's a fucking
list.
segue, John, right there. That's a great segue.
Yeah, I don't want to spend a ton of time on the cast because this cast is really large, and we have a ton of notes on them. So we'll kind of fly through them.
I just have 2. I mean,
if
so
you want
whatever you guys have.
if you want to start with what you got.
I mean, John David Washington, obviously a stud. I mean, he's known for a lot of things. Obviously, the Black Klansman. That's like one of his bigger roles.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to drop a quick fact, and if you guys know this, then maybe I'm just dumb. I couldn't believe when I found out that he was Denzel Washington's son. Like,
what?
I did not know that shit. That's Denzel Washington's son.
Yeah.
John, it all makes sense now. John David Washington.
Weird.
And when
I
I
don't
found out, I
think
was like,
Denzel
really?
is as being that
old. I know.
Yeah.
That's how I felt as well. But
Yeah.
That man's an adult. He's like in his like 30s. Like.
Yeah.
I know, and it turns out he's like what, like 50, 60? He's old.
Who, Denzel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
He's like old, and not like old, but like, you know what I mean, like enough to have a son, and he's 40. John David Washington.
God.
He's old too. He's older.
It's kind of crazy.
Okay, so no, you're not dumb. That's wild.
Yeah, I know. When I found that, I was like, holy shit! Like
I didn't even
they do a good job
put
with
that together.
I didn't even put that together.
They hid that so well. Like I know,
Yeah.
like the nepotism baby trend.
Right.
Never see his name come up, and then like one day I like was googling him, and I was like, oh, his father Denzel Washington. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
It's crazy.
And it's not that he was given this role because of his father. He's actually a really great actor.
He crushed. He crushed.
And he's known for a lot of things. He's been known for Love Beats Rhymes, Monsters and Men, The Black Klansman, like you said,
Yeah.
The Old Man and the Gun, which I haven't seen, but I've heard some
heard
things
of it.
about it. And then he's been in the hit TV show Ballers.
He was great in Ballers.
Yeah. He was also
I actually
in that.
really liked him in Ballers.
He how long was he in Ballers? I haven't seen.
I think
that.
the whole time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. He
played.
Just a stud.
His name was like Ricky.
Is he a funny guy in that too?
He's like a cocky, funny.
He's got that sarcasm.
He plays
and
a
that
wide
cockiness.
receiver.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's good then.
Okay.
I like
Yeah.
the show Ballers. The show Ballers was great with The Rock. And,
Yeah, The Rock. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, who's the? Fuck, what's his name? Guy from Hot Tub, bald guy from Hot Tub Time Machine.
I don't know his name.
Yeah,
but I know
you know
exactly. who you're
everybody
talking
knows who I'm
about.
talking
Everybody
about.
knows who he is, but doesn't know his name.
Right.
Yeah.
So shout out Baller.
No, yeah. John David Washington, though. I mean, I'll keep it short though. I just think he was amazing. I think the jokes land when you're not thinking as much
When
of
you're
the
not
rest of the
thinking
movie.
too much.
Yeah, when you're not thinking about the movie and you actually like
Jokes
sit there
never
and
landed
enjoy
for
it.
me, guys.
Well, that's the thing. Once you get it, or just watch the movie looking for jokes, because the dude gets it on like every line. He's
some
so
of the
funny.
It seems like stale humor, but it's actually really funny.
It is.
They are.
It is
Like,
like stale
they're-
humor at first, and then you're like, "Holy shit!" Like I'm actually laughing at this.
Yeah,
It's
there were
good stuff.
some things that were just like he would say, and he's like, it made me chuckle. It was like,
Yeah.
that's actually.
It's sort of like
good.
Office humor too. It's like you know at the Office,
It's
like
stupid
they'll
stuff,
do
but it's
jokes
funny.
and it's like straight face, but it's
Yeah.
like a joke, and you realize that like him and Neil, and
Yeah.
even Priya drops a couple like. Everyone drops a couple of jokes. Even I'm pretty sure Sator has a couple of like jokes, but he's like
Yeah.
a Russian.
Oh,
he's
I
a
know.
hard Russian.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
And when he makes the jokes, it's like he's a Russian dude, just big deadpan. It's so
Yeah.
funny because of it. I love it.
I agree. But who's next up on our cast list?
Up next, we have Robert Pattinson as Neil. He's known for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the Twilight Saga, Water for Elephants, The Batman, and The Lighthouse.
Some really good projects.
Also, Good Time. Another good one for him.
Why can't I? He was in Batman. What other one did we do that? I swear we had Robert Pattinson in another movie. What was it?
Oh, he's in so many.
I don't know. I know what you mean. I just can't think of it.
I remember reading this like 3 times.
Yeah, I know we have. I don't know though. But let's keep moving. But if we think of it, we'll come back.
I thought you guys did The Lighthouse. No?
No.
No,
Oh.
we did the Batman. Maybe
Yeah.
it was just that.
Maybe.
I don't know. But if you want to read our next one here.
Devil All the Time. He's in that too.
Oh yes, but we didn't do that
We
one.
didn't do that.
But I still seen that movie.
Okay, you must talk
I've-
about it a
I've
lot because
talked
I really feel like
He
you
always.
guys are into it.
That's
I
the
used
one
to
with
talk
Tom
about
Holland.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks about
Loves
this all
that
the
movie.
time.
Yeah.
Whenever we bring up Tom Holland, he usually talks
Yeah, well,
about
that
it.
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
is so
Spidey, yeah.
so underrated. I love that movie a lot. So maybe one day we'll have to talk about that one.
Yeah, that's a movie I'll
really
shit
fun
on.
movie.
That's a movie
I
I'll
think
shit
I've
on.
seen.
I know. I did enjoy that though.
I think
That's
I've
the
seen.
best.
I think I've seen stuff about that, and it seems pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, if you
It was
want
interesting.
to read our next one here.
Elizabeth Debicki as Kat. She's known for The Great Gatsby, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Everest, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, The Cloverfield Paradox, and the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. She's the golden lady in that. I'm
Yes.
assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it until like.
Yeah.
Well, I picked up on it kind of early, knowing about this already, but it's still like she sounds familiar. and then
I know.
go,
I thought that too. It's kind of strange.
She's in Guardians.
Yeah. Because like I saw this for the first time. I'm like I kind of recognize her, but at
Yeah.
the same time I'm like it's
She's in a
really
bunch of random
vague.
stuff.
Yeah.
She kind of looks like Amber Heard a little. I don't. No offense to her. I don't know if that's offensive, but like once I looked at her, I was like, oh, this is like very familiar face, and I was like Amber Heard, and I was like, no, she's in other things.
Yeah.
She's in real things.
She doesn't shit on beds.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yes, but she really crushes this role too. I mean, I'm a big fan of her
Yeah.
performance in this as well. I
Yeah.
mean, she does talk about her son a little bit too much for my liking because I feel like
Yeah,
He's
fuck
not
that
really-
kid.
He's not.
in the middle of it, they'll be like, yeah, everyone's going to die, and she's like,
What about
my
my son?
It's like, no,
Yeah,
your
no
son's
shit.
just gonna be alone in this
Yeah.
whole world.
He's
Right.
excluded.
It's just like, yeah. But
He's
like
the lone survivor.
she definitely crushes like the mother who just wants to be with her son and is escaping evil type
Yeah.
thing. So it's like she did a really good job with that.
I think that's more just a testament to the writing because
Definitely,
I
yeah.
feel like they made her character really strong, and
Yeah.
but then like she talks about her kid too much,
Yeah.
even though that's like
Yeah.
kind of why
I think they
she's
tried
helping
to,
them.
yeah, they tried to bring her down a bit, which is like they should have left her up. I mean, obviously she cares about her son. We knew.
Yeah.
It was just like that one line is the one that I think
Right.
I'm criticizing
It's
because it was
like,
like,
yeah.
yeah, no shit, your son's gonna die. Everyone's gonna die. Like, yeah.
So up next we have Kenneth Branagh, I believe you say that, or
so.
Branagh. I
I
don't
think
know.
he's
Branagh?
I think he's
No?
I don't even know.
British,
But
or Irish, or
he
Scottish.
plays Andrei
Or
Sator.
Russian.
Or Russian.
Or Italian.
He might just be
the fuck
European.
knows?
He's European slash Russian. There you go.
Yeah, so he plays Andrei Sator, the big bad of this film, and he's known for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Macbeth, Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, Dunkirk, Murder on the Orient Express, and Death on the Nile.
Wait,
Some
oh,
good
he's the
ones.
fucking detective in both of those. I didn't even
Yeah.
put that together.
Yeah, he's
Look at that.
he goes under the radar for a lot of things like Harry
does.
Potter.
Harry
he
Potter.
was the dude with the eye.
Yeah.
What's his name? I was just gonna say. Oh, you never seen any of Harry Potters?
Nope.
Well, he's just a weirdo with a googly eye. If Johnny, if you
Oh,
get that.
wait, yeah. I
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
who you're
with the
talking
cane.
about. Long
Yeah.
hair,
Yep,
big.
I'm pretty sure that.
Like,
Yeah,
isn't
that's
he
him.
like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a weird fucking looking eye.
Yeah.
It's like popping out.
it moves out and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
I mean,
I
I
know who
just
you're
think
talking
like a quick comment on him. Like he's just the classic evil villain and fits so well into this. He's like,
Yeah.
if no one can have my wife, if I can't have my wife, no one can. And if I can't live, no one can. It's
Yeah.
like he knows he's dying. Like I just think that's such a
I know
classic
that was a
evil villain.
powerful line too.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
because at first when he said it, I'm thinking he's talking about his wife, but then we hear him say it again later, or we hear his
Yeah.
wife say it, and I'm thinking like, why are you talking about yourself in the third person if you can't have her?
Yeah.
But then it clicked. I'm like, he's talking about the world. Like,
Yeah, he's talking
if
about
he
life,
can't
yeah.
live, no one else can. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that's fucking powerful. That was a really great line.
It's insane.
But yeah, he's really good in this film, and he's very talented in being able to switch to different types of roles, as like we see on his resume here.
Definitely.
He's wide variety of different characters. So
And up now we have Aaron Taylor Johnson as Ives. He is known for Kick-Ass 1 and 2, Chat Room, Godzilla, Avengers Age of Ultron, The King's Man, which was a absolute terrible movie.
Yeah.
I do not recommend.
Flopped.
And they even tried to make a sequel to it.
damn.
They had an end credit scene in a
Yeah,
mid-credit
yeah.
scene. And it's like,
Terrible.
no, just go back to the original cast.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I know
think they're going to
I know
now.
that, but I don't think they can, because
They
now
can't?
technically Eggsy's married. He's he's done.
Yeah, man. I thought they said like when they originally announced the prequel, they're like, "Don't worry, we'll go back." But now that makes sense. Yeah.
I did just see today
Shame.
the trailer for Tetris with Taron Egerton,
Yeah, I
And
did see
that
He's
that.
doing a
looks-
lot of stuff.
and that looks so interesting and so
yeah.
cool.
I know. I'm kind of excited.
Like
for that.
you would never expect a game like Tetris to
Yeah,
have
to, like,
like that
have
much
excitement.
action and kind of story behind it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But,
very cool.
Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson. I know that we intentionally made this script months ago, before a certain film came out that we did a review on, and
Yes.
that is
Yes.
the great film Bullet Train,
Yeah,
where he plays, I believe it's
Lemon.
Lemon.
Yeah, and him and Brian Tyree Henry have
No,
No, it's
he,
Clementine.
he plays Tangerine.
Tangerine.
a tangerine.
Some other guy. I don't know.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
Tangerine, yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson in that film is fucking
Crushed.
phenomenal, and him and
Yeah.
Brian Tyree Henry, they
Their
completely.
chemistry is fucking insane.
It is so wonderful, and they're the backbone of that film.
Oh yeah,
Even
Brian
though it's
Tyree
Brad
Henry.
Pitt's movie.
100%.
So-
He needs to get some serious like consideration for the Oscars. Brian Tyree Henry
Yeah.
in Causeway.
What's with these three named
Killed it.
people?
I know.
Yeah, they're coming out
Brian
of nowhere.
Tyree Henry,
Aaron
John
Taylor
David
Johnson.
Washington, Aaron
It's-
Taylor Johnson.
It's too difficult.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, but
Yeah.
like Brian Tyree Henry is just insane. Aaron Taylor Johnson, I love his like sarcasm, like
Oh
comedy.
yeah.
But it's obviously like dry sarcasm in a way, like sort of where it's
Mhm.
like he's in the military, he has to be a dick.
Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah.
clear sarcasm. he
And then
does.
there was the one scene where he's briefing everybody and
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
asks a question. He goes, "All right, any more stupid questions?"
Yep, yeah,
And
yeah.
everybody's looking at each other
reference
like,
that. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
we're good. We're good.
Nope, we're good. Yeah, because it's like he's explaining the most complicated fucking thing like anyone could go through.
"Oh my god, dude, I could
And-
not."
He's like, "Oh, any stupid questions?" Like, I don't think anything's a stupid question with this, but yeah.
He literally
Yeah.
goes, "All right, so the inverted team's coming in here, but we have to go in there, but we
Yep.
got." I'm like, "You lost
I
me
know.
like 2
No, I know.
seconds ago." Do
All right, so the next one, oh gosh, please.
you want me to say it for you?
You go ahead. Yeah.
It's Clémence
Posey.
Poésy. I think it's Poésy. I think
Nice.
I looked it
Okay.
up
Okay.
before.
Crushed it.
As Laura. You can take it away now, Reg.
Now Laura is the scientist in the beginning. Yeah, I'm putting that together because I just read what else she's in. She was pretty good, but she's also known for Harry Potter, The Goblet of Fire, 127 Hours, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, and Un Bruges. That's how it's pronounced for some reason.
Smart
Interesting.
guy.
I wouldn't know that.
Yeah,
I would have
smart-
said in.
I would have said in Brudges.
I always thought it was in Bruges, and then
So that's what I was gonna say.
yeah, my girlfriend's dad said Un Bruges to me. I was like, I feel like such an idiot. And he's
You're like, "Hey man, have you ever seen this movie In Brudges?"
yeah. It's like, oh gosh.
I would have said that too, to be
Yeah.
honest.
It's like when I found out Dennis Villeneuve's name is actually
Oh yeah, we had this
Denise
conversation the other day.
Villen. It's I don't
Wait,
remember
who?
it. Dennis, the guy that made Prisoners and Blade Runner 2049.
Right.
You would think his name is Dennis Villeneuve. It just looks like that.
Right.
It's Denise Villeneuve. It's not even villain. It's Villeneuve.
Yeah, Villeneuve.
Or something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah,
It's a lot more complicated than I just made it, but
Yeah.
it's not what you think it is. Basically,
Yeah.
it's like, oh gosh, but yeah, no.
I just realized we don't have Priya on the cast list.
Oh.
The woman that plays
she
Priya.
crushed. I mean,
Yeah, we
I
can
actually
just
have
subtly mention her. She was
on
good.
here. Her name is Dimple. I really hope it's Dimple, but it's spelled Dimple. It's spelled Dimple. Dimple Rapadia. I really hope I said that right because she really crushed that.
She did.
I definitely want
she
to give
was
some
very-
respect to her.
She was very, very good in this film.
Yeah, she did really good. I actually liked her a lot because she also did a really good job explaining this stuff to us.
Yeah,
I mean,
she did at least
yeah.
a little bit of a better job than,
yeah.
than Robert Pattinson, where he goes, this is inverted. Inverted is this. Da, 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 da.
yeah.
And I'm like,
She did
I
good.
don't got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
I
favorite
know.
part is finding out that these guys are like basically recruited by the protagonist.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's like that's why she's so damn smart. She knows like everything, and she's able to explain it to him because she knows he's gonna need that. And then Pattinson just knows, or just knows. Okay, I just need to be there. I need to do this stuff with him.
Yeah.
And it's like that's probably why he's more confusing because he probably didn't even think he needed to explain it.
Right.
But then obviously the protagonist found out, and he
Yeah.
was like, I guess I will tell him some
I'm
shit.
still trying to wrap my head around the Neil thing. So he goes, okay, so he's inverted. He's inverted for years and years and years to meet up with protagonist at this time.
He's most likely like in a bunker for like a while too, I'm assuming, just like
knows?
waiting for the
Yeah.
time to invert all the way back. That's what's driving me nuts is like imagine staying
I don't.
and he
It's
can't even
confusing.
age. He can't even age because he's inverted, or can he?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's
That's
my
weird
fault.
how
For so
Yeah.
many years.
Actually, if you think about it,
he would get younger.
this is now I just confused myself.
He would be like
yeah.
40s and
That's
he
what I'm
got
thinking.
younger.
That's what I'm thinking. Like
If that's actually
if
how it works.
inversion works the way
I think we're thinking too much into it at this point.
Yeah,
But-
I think we might be thinking too hard because if he's inverted, and my theory that I'll bring up soon is that
yeah.
he's younger. He would be like a kid if he inverted. I think you don't age. Like I think
how
you just
could
don't
you?
age.
If that was the case, why wouldn't Sator just go? Why would he want to nuke the world? Why wouldn't
Yeah.
he just go back
Just keep going back
and
in
just
time.
exactly?
No, that's
And that's
true.
how he beats his cancer.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if I were him, I'd do that. I mean,
Yeah.
power move.
Yeah.
So to close out our cast list, I know we have a couple other ones here, but to keep it moving, we have the great legendary Michael Caine
Oh,
as
Michael
Michael
Caine.
Crosby,
Great.
and he's 89 years old and has been acting for 66 of those years.
He might be 90 now.
Yeah, I'm thinking he might be 90 now
Probably, yeah.
because this was a few months back. But he's known for all three of the Christian Bale Batman movies, Inception.
Another
Austin-
Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Both of them, yeah.
Yeah, he's known for Austin Powers in Goldmember,
Great movie.
Kingsman:
movie.
The Secret Service,
Another great movie.
Yeah,
and
he just all misses. All hits,
some really
all
good
misses.
films that are underrated. Now You See Me 1 and 2.
I love those.
And he's supposed to be, apparently, in Now You See Me 3.
Apparently, they're bringing like I said prior.
Everyone?
They're bringing back the franchise.
I love
which
it.
I hope so. They have
Yeah.
fucking great movies.
They really do. I mean, Christopher Nolan is like that's not him though.
No,
I'm just
Yeah.
bouncing around. I'm just thinking no, but Michael Caine just crushes it. And like
Yeah.
all the
I
movies
know.
you guys listed, every single one of those, everyone should watch.
And the thing is, Now You
It's
See
crazy.
Me, like they got fucking great cinematography too, dude.
Those are so
The
good.
card
Oh
scene
my god.
Everything.
in Now You See Me too.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Legendary.
So great.
Yeah.
It is.
You see it on like every Instagram movie, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Every
every movie
TikTok,
it'll
Instagram.
always be
you know.
posted. It'll
Yeah.
always come up a couple
Well,
months.
it'll
you know.
probably show up on our For You pages later.
As we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should show up on your guys' edit right now as we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Jonathan.
There we go. Well, maybe if I'm feeling it,
He'll
it'll
see
be
what he
on.
could do.
So if
No,
I
he
did,
just gets lazy.
I do.
Doesn't put him.
So if I did put this in, please leave us a like. If I did not,
There we go.
please leave us a like.
Yeah, follow. Yeah,
Yeah.
follow our social media.
So yeah, we talked about Christopher Nolan a little bit, the director of this film, and we mentioned pretty much almost all of his films already. So I don't want to waste time talking
Yeah.
about that.
The glazing is unreal here, but he just kind of deserves
He
it.
does.
Yeah.
So many of these films are fantastic.
He's just he's a
Um,
genius, sort of. You know,
I've seen. I
kind
think.
of, sort of.
I think I've seen The Dark Knight
Yeah, he
and The
doesn't
Dark
like
Knight
Batman.
Rises. I don't think
You
I've
didn't like
seen.
the first Dark Knight.
I don't think I've seen Batman Begins.
You know, that's okay. You're not really missing much.
Yeah.
I liked it.
oh,
and I watched it, but
Since we're on this topic, apparently people are saying Bale's gonna come back in the Flash movie.
I saw
I
a
don't
But like
still
the
that
bike,
looked
but
like
like
him.
the bike, right?
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
the bike,
Yeah, I
but I
did
also
see
saw
that.
the back of his head, and it looked like the one from the Dark Knight movie.
Right.
So I was like,
I don't
he's
know,
gonna be in
though.
it too. That would
So
be sick.
3 Batman
That'd be sick.
and
That's
a
a lot.
shitty Supergirl
And
and
a criminal
3 and
Flash.
3 and 3 shitty Flashes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a hit movie.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be
this is-
interesting.
It's gonna be. They're trying to reach for like the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
No Way Home. I think.
That also that also is another like confusing fucking thing.
Yeah, but right after
I know.
once you watch it, you're like, oh, nostalgia. I love this movie. Like, I think I brought it down to from like 4.5 to like 4 stars, just because like I was like, okay, maybe a lot of it's nostalgia, but I
Which
love
one,
it
the
the
is.
movie.
Flash?
No,
Or-
No
or-
Way Home.
Oh,
I loved the movie when I
Yeah.
watched it in the theaters,
so
but then I was
confused
like,
how we got there.
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's just you.
How was
No.
that me? I
Because
was
we were
talking about the Flash.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
talking about
no.
Flashpoint, and I was like, oh, like Spider-Man No Way Home, it might be like that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get it.
But moving forward into some visual effects, there's honestly not a complete ton, despite this being a very visual movie. I feel like a lot of this was practical. So
Oh yeah, you can
And
see
it
that
was
from
just
the first
reversed.
scene. You
Yeah.
can see it from the first scene where he throws the bomb on the opera.
yeah,
You know, the explosion was real. You could tell that was
Oh
real.
yeah, crashing
Yeah.
the plane, you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah,
Plane crash was sick.
it was.
Like it was really cool.
I love
Yeah.
the fact. I mean, I'm pretty sure whoever's listening to this 100% knows this because like I feel like every movie buff knows this. Christopher Nolan crashed a real plane
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he knew that the CGI and all those effects would cost more than actually crashing a plane.
Yeah.
So he
I
did
know.
that. He was like,
which
screw it.
is fucking ballsy, by the way.
Oh, it is.
so-
Seriously.
Yeah.
A lot
'Cause
could
that
go
could
wrong.
have blew up. Like
Oh,
it
yeah,
could
I
have
know.
exploded.
Yeah.
It could have been really bad, but
Yeah.
it
They
it
must
worked
have-
out well. So
yeah, they must have had
here
the
they
right
are.
precautions.
And the choreography between the
Oh,
backwards fights.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
That
it's
was sick.
so good.
I was watching like one
Now-
of the training videos. It's John David Washington again. Like so much respect to him because you got to see how
Yeah.
he like has to practice walking backwards because some of this stuff is visual effects.
It looks fucking
Yeah.
goofy
But-
as hell though.
Well,
yeah,
when
it's not,
he-
it's like he's literally
Yeah.
doing
When
it.
he did the like crawl forward, I was like, "You look fucking stupid."
Yeah.
I know.
Um,
So
but now after visual effects, we're gonna jump into some cinematography. There were some really good scenes. I enjoyed.
we have almost more than 2 pages of this.
About a page and a half.
Yeah.
I got
But,
3
Oh,
bullet
no,
points.
Yeah.
You guys got a lot.
Some
I
of this
got
was
2.
you from months ago though.
Shit.
Yeah.
We're gonna ignore that though, and I know I'll just keep talking about it then.
Yeah.
I just want to say that okay, no. We already mentioned the pincer maneuver at the end. So fun to watch. But also we also kind of have to appreciate the pincer maneuver that happened before that when it's Sator's goons basically
What with the cars?
when the car's in between.
Oh,
like that
yeah.
was
Yeah.
a
That
pincer
was cool.
maneuver because he knew, and because you see Kat look like across the fence and there's a guy wearing the gas mask, which means
Yeah.
he's moving backwards. He knows what's happening.
Yeah.
And I think that was the coolest thing ever. Like how, like I said, what has happened is said throughout the movie like 1,000 times. And when you see it, you're like, the protagonist had to go back because
Yeah.
that is what happened, even though they don't know. Like
I think the cool
that
thing.
makes it more confusing.
I know.
I think the cool thing about that was John David Washington's protagonist got played
by
did.
himself.
by Sator.
And himself.
And himself,
Yeah.
technically, in the
Yeah.
end, he really like played
He
himself.
got fucking played by
I know.
Sator in
Yep.
that whole like
That sequence.
yeah.
But the thing is,
It
that
was
had to
crazy.
happen.
Right.
I know.
That's the problem
Yeah.
too. is,
But,
like,
like,
he knew that
At
he had
first,
to get
I'm
played.
like, how does this? Like rewatching it again, I'm like, how is this fitting in? And then I see Sator again, and it's like, but he was just over there.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking.
And then I
it's
see it, and then you
strange.
see him
It's
come out
strange.
on the other end,
yeah.
and you hear him ask the same questions, and it's
Yep.
like, oh, you
Yeah.
think you start getting it, but then I
Yeah.
still got lost again.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, once he gets, no, I
It's so
Definitely.
so
Like I said,
utterly confusing.
Yeah.
3
But-
YouTube videos away. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
It's not like one of those.
For me, there are a lot of things that we notice here. We haven't talked about this a lot recently, to be honest.
No.
Just regular camera terminology. There's different like zooming and jibbing out of the arena in the beginning of that opening
lot.
sequence. That opening sequence is absolutely fantastic. I think that's one of my favorite shots of the entire film.
Yeah.
Where we see a lot of zooming in and zooming out, and then the camera on a jib, which is a big arm, which is like a
It's
mic
like
arm.
it's like a camera on a crane. So like,
Yeah.
say this is like a crane.
yeah.
I forgot the camera's dead. Say like you have a mic stand mic arm, and instead of the mic, it's a camera.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
It's big.
Yeah, that's really it. And then in that same exact sequence, the guy that's in the van at the end of that scene, the shot is initially zoomed in so much that you see through the window of the van, and it zooms out, and then you're inside of the van, which is really cool. And then it starts raining, so you see the rain on the glass, and it's really, really well done.
Yeah,
because it just changes rack focus.
Yeah. I also really like the shot when he's being tortured by the one guy, and then the train comes by.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I just think it's so cool, and it kind of gives a little bit more suspense because you can't actually see what's happening, but you know he's getting fucked up.
He got fleeced, bro.
And then they told him that they pulled all of his teeth
for nothing.
Jeez. He's like, so he was like, the pills are fake. They pulled my teeth out.
Yeah, they pulled all my teeth. They put them right back. But no, I also like in the beginning where that's where they put the title of him literally quote unquote killing himself. He thinks that's what he's doing, and you just see his face distraught. And it goes Tenet right across from it.
I like that.
I mean,
that
it's confusing at the beginning, but it's that's a really dope shot.
I know. I loved it a lot.
That was a good opening credit.
Yeah,
that was great. I think the scene I enjoyed the most was the fighting scene in the kitchen.
Oh,
the scene's so badass.
So good.
Yeah.
Dude, when he takes the cheese grater and he goes,
oh yeah.
I was like, at first you're like, but then
yeah,
you're like, that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. It was really, really
Smart.
cool. And then
fighter.
it's so, the energy is so high and things are moving at such a fast pace, and that's what I really enjoyed about it the most. I think the tracking shots look fucking awesome. And then we get this really great POV from both the protagonist and the guys that he's fighting. And then we get the shots from behind the protagonist of him just punching and beating these guys up.
Yeah.
And I think it's just really nice. So
the score in the background also I know it's a little loud. I think in the theater it definitely was, but when I rewatched it, the score, I guess the volume was turned down. I don't know how they did it, but in the theater it's louder. But Ludwig Göransson, fucking genius. I think Hans Zimmer, it's one of he trained him, or they're good friends, but he's a lot younger.
Yeah.
And obviously Hans Zimmer's done a lot of powerful movies like this. But this guy Ludwig crushed it. I love the way he used synthesizers. I love the way that he used just heavy bass. I mean, all across. I think the beginning, not knowing anything about this movie, and just the beginning when they're like, okay, let's go. And then you see them running across, and then the bass is so hard.
Yeah.
I know. It's really great.
I mean, pause, but it was really nice.
I think the soundtrack was really good, but also there are just also some shots in this that just give me what the fuck?
In terms of what, the music?
No, in terms of shots.
Oh.
Yeah,
actual cinematography. Dude, they jump off the thing, they bungee, they release their shit, they walk through the thing, cuts to him going to dinner or lunch with fucking Michael Caine.
Yeah,
come on.
It's a hard cut.
Give me more.
Yeah. No,
it is a hard cut at times, and actually that is something I noticed on the first watch. On the second watch, I was just so infatuated that I didn't notice that. But once you say it again, I'm there was a lot of hard cuts. Where it's you need to see a little bit.
Too many jump cuts.
But that probably goes back to the pacing and everything.
Not jump cuts, but they were jump cuts, but you said, they were hard jump cuts.
Yeah, they were
so totally different scenes.
Yeah.
Immediately, yeah.
There was also
weird.
I think if he didn't cut it out, it probably would have been it would probably have been 3 hours total, though. That's probably why some of them are so hard, because he probably wasted so much time with other things.
I was watching it last night. I started it, I think, at 1:30, and I'm is this movie even close to being over yet? I'm holy shit, how long is this thing?
You texted me at, I think, 4:30 in the morning, or 3:30.
It was 3:30.
It was so bad.
Yeah, and I was still don't like it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No, I was doing it at my school. I was watching it during my shift, and I was I obviously kept getting interrupted, but I watched the first hour, and it's just that made sense to me, and I had to let it sit. And maybe that's another thing you need to do.
Just let it marinate.
Watch the first hour.
Yeah.
Sit back and think about it, and on your drive home or whatever, or eat dinner or something, and then watch the rest, because that also might have helped me.
I know.
Yeah, just contemplate.
Well, that's what helped me, because I watched the first half of it last night, the second half of it today, and it helped me explain more. But let's take a quick break from the episode. I want to mention our merch. We have a bunch of new stuff in the shop, oneshotmoviepodcast.com. And if you guys want a little discount code, use code Tenet for 15% off of the shop. Hats, shirts, sweatshirts, phone cases.
John is
and
actually
mugs.
wearing the hat right now, and it looks fantastic.
If you guys go back in the
very
beginning of the video, I'm wearing it. I also have on the sweatshirt, an older sweatshirt, but it's still really cool.
Yep, has it
So
on right now.
yeah, use code TENET for 15% off on oneshotmoviepodcast.com.
Yeah.
So hopping back into this, there were some mistakes that I noticed in the beginning of the film. When they slingshot themselves onto the building, we get a wide shot of them running up the building, quote unquote, but then you can clearly see they're being pulled up by ropes.
Yeah.
So it's not really
So,
them
like,
running up. They're kind of just being pulled.
That was a little confusing to me too. I was like, how are they? Okay, so they're slingshotting, but they're running up, but they also still got like harnesses on.
Yeah.
How did that work?
Oh.
Like, I'm like, how did that work?
So, okay, so they were talking about bungeeing up.
Mhm.
I think Neil was the one who said that.
Yeah.
So I think that the
He said it's-
ropes.
What, they got an inverted rope?
No, the thing is that isn't a rope. That's a bungee cord, and it's literally like completely expanded. That's why they had to wind it up. Like when
Mhm.
you see like the crane, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a bungee cord, and that's why it's launching them and pulling them apparently. Like
Okay.
that. So that's.
But
it
also,
makes more
if
sense
you
now.
go up, you can't go up again until you go back down.
No, I know, but
with
like
a bungee cord.
because the
I'm thinking.
bungee cord was still getting like wrapped up. Like because like you were waiting for the thing to click and everything. You hear the machine whirring next to them. It was still going, and that's why it was
I don't
pulling them
know.
up because the cord was like
I
still.
don't know.
It
Your
was
logic,
still unraveling.
your logic's
and
not.
stretching.
Your logic's
Well,
not hitting
I'm just
right now.
that's me trying to make sense of it, not me
Yeah.
understanding it. That's me like explaining it to myself at the same time as verbalizing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I got nothing.
Do you want to move into Easter eggs or want to move past
Yeah,
that?
we'll hit up a couple Easter eggs real quick.
I know.
Um,
So let's jump into some Easter eggs. I know you have a really important like one that you've mentioned to me last night that you wanted to say
Is
today.
it the one about Neil? And...
Yeah.
So I really think that Neil is Kat's son. I think that Neil is.
that's
That's where I
big.
think-
It's interesting.
That's
It's
where
big.
that's where I had to confuse myself because Kat's son.
Oh, yeah, he's
I mean,
British.
Thinking
Neil's
about
British.
it can really make no
It
sense.
could
but at the same
work.
time, it's a complete full circle moment. Why don't you root for that? Like, if he is Kat's son, number one, he's gonna know a lot about it because she lived it, and Protag will most
Yeah.
likely be in his life watching over him.
That makes so much sense.
Exactly, and then
Oh
he
my
said he
God.
recruits him from the future.
Yeah.
Pattinson doesn't look that old. Probably like 20 years
Right.
in the future. Protag's like, screw it. This guy's gonna know a lot anyways. So
Right.
he needs to know about his father. He probably knows a bunch about like everything because obviously it's his history.
Yeah.
Send him.
It would have
back.
been interesting to see like if on the cat's son's backpack, if we see that keychain
Oh my
like at the end.
Gosh, that would have been. I mean,
know,
that would have
right?
been the dead
Oh, yeah.
giveaway that
Oh,
we
but,
were
like,
looking for.
I feel like that would have like been like, okay, that makes
Mhm.
their relationship like 10 times better now.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Like,
it-
I would've
and
loved
That's
that.
the full circle. Like this is just a
Right.
theory for me. Like I mean, a lot of people also talked about it, but that's like even at first watch, I was like, I think Neil is Kat's son because like
Yeah.
that's the thing. But like after a while, everyone's saying that it's just like I imagine maybe if there's any other scenes with him, I might go back and like check to see if he had like a bracelet like that.
Right.
An
Yeah.
orange
Like
bracelet.
something.
Yeah.
If there's
you
anything,
you like zooming in on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
movie, like what
Going
is
straight
going
back
on?
for
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh my
I
God.
just want to know.
But speaking
He's
of
tough.
that same thing on Neil's backpack, I think that was so well done by the creators of the film. I feel
Yeah.
like they didn't need to add it in, but it like assured us,
Right.
like
And
he
John
is
David,
there
the thing
in
is,
the beginning and the end.
John David Washington even like paused when he saw that keychain. He was like, "That looks familiar."
Yep.
Yeah,
So like, and then he sees it when Neil like puts his backpack on,
Yep.
and he's like,
they show it multiple
Yeah.
times throughout the film.
in the
and
beginning in the opera house, that's how Neil knows everything that went down in the opera house because
Yeah.
Neil
he was there.
saved Protagonist's life in the beginning.
"Oh,
the
he's the
bullet
one
around.
that."
Yeah,
When
that's
he-
the one with
Oh.
the because if you see the backpack, it has the same exact thing.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't
so
see
that's
Yeah.
one thing that like if it
That's probably another reason why he.
yeah he knew everything. I
Mhm.
mean, he probably also knew everything before, anyways. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm guessing
Right.
Because he probably
He'd be
went
briefed.
through.
Well,
I don't even
he's
know how to
Everything.
isn't
explain
he technically stuck in a time loop now because he
I think so.
died?
Well, what happened.
Don't
This is
fucking do that.
this is
Don't
this
do that
is
to me.
this is the thing. This is his like the thing about what happened for me that I like talking about is like everyone has their own destiny and everyone has their own timeline. So his timeline, he's meant to go into the past. Like that's his life and like that's like everything about like his destiny in the movie. So since he's dying like 20 years before and he continues living as like, say he is the kid, then that's just like what it is. He's meant to grow up and then go back and die, which is like so weird.
So it's like he says, it's a paradox.
It is a paradox. But the thing is, it's not a paradox because he died. So it doesn't technically keep going for him.
And, they also...
But technically it does.
Actually, technically it does. But once you get past when he decides to go back in time in the future, that's when it ends.
Yeah.
Like if you're living life like just straight,
Living out the
there's
timeline.
there's no inverting. You're just going straight through from the past to the future, no future to the past. Once he makes the decision, or not makes the decision, but once he's like recruited to go back in time and he actually goes back in time for the first time to actually do this mission in the past,
never be back.
He will never come back. That's like technically the end of his life if we're doing it linear,
Yeah, exactly.
That's how the paradox ends. But it's still a paradox for him. You're right.
You two understand this way more than I do. So
I'm starting to. So yeah.
There's one more Easter egg that I just kind of want to mention. Sure. When Michael Caine asked Protag if he could recommend a Taylor, that's a nod to his role in Kingsman. Of course,
that was funny. Yeah,
that was cool.
It was just kind of nice to see because it's like, yeah.
I like
at
the
least
British
he still
humor,
knows. Yeah, at least he still knows. That he was in that movie.
I did like that. Yeah,
Kingsman's such a great movie. I really want them to make another one.
I think they will.
A good one.
I think they will.
Another good one.
Yeah, that's true.
So jumping into some movie ratings on websites. Starting it off, we have IMDb at a 7.3 out of 10.
Low.
We have Rotten Tomatoes with a 69%.
Too low.
Nice. And then we have Metacritic.
You're going to make me angry.
We have Metacritic with a 69%.
Metacritic's weird, so
yeah,
we'll allow it.
I don't know. And then if we jump into some earnings and opening weekend.
Yeah, so opening weekend, this made $9,353,000.
Yeah.
And then, wrong sheet. Okay, I'm not good with double-sided stuff. And then overall earnings, it made about $364 million.
It went up, since
it almost made double the budget, and this was the most expensive Christopher Nolan film ever made at $200 million with the budget.
As it should be, honestly.
Which is an absurd amount. I want to think that's in part because they had to fucking buy an entire 747 plane and crash it. I think
makes
that
sense.
Probably ate up a lot of the budget.
You think?
So
good fair amount, yeah.
But yeah, let's move into our favorites, and then we can wrap it up.
Yeah. So we'll start with you.
I mean, I've been saving this just because this is the reason why I fell back in love with this movie, or maybe not fell back in love. I like the movie a lot. I would back it, but like I fell in love with this movie because of this scene, the fire truck scene. So good. The score is, oh my gosh. I'll go on with this forever, but just to keep it short and sweet, I mean that's where I talk about the synthesizers or the synth machines that Ludwig is using. And when he's on the machine, it just gives you that goosebump rush of adrenaline feel. I literally listened to that song specifically. It's called Trucks in Place. That's like the name when I'm at the gym. And then you have to go to the part where the beat drops just because it's just so much momentum. It gives you goosebumps and it just gets you juiced. So that's the one scene that I will definitely talk about forever and back it.
Yeah.
Favorite quote?
Yeah. What's your favorite quote? If you can think of one.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, I would definitely point out Neil and the Protags, any of their sarcastic lines. I mean, there's probably an infinite amount. The one that I recognize the most is like, I ordered hot sauce an hour ago, and then he started kicking ass,
Dude, I'm so surprised. Yeah. I'm waiting for you to say the line you've said throughout this entire podcast.
The thing is,
what happens.
What has happened.
That's what I was just waiting for it this whole time.
Is it my favorite line? No, but does it make everything make sense? Yes. So maybe it will be my favorite.
I think that's the title for this episode.
What has happened?
I think that's going to be the quote that we're going to use. What's happened.
It really does. It goes past just the movie. I mean, you could really this could be a conversation for anything. Yeah. You could also talk about what has happened.
Yeah, like how I hit a deer. What's happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's literally move on. You got to move on, and that's a real thing with life, and that's what I love about this movie is like some of these things, although super science fiction, super far fetched, what has happened. It still comes back to something that we still talk about right now.
Yeah,
it's real.
Mm-hmm.
John, how about you?
I'm gonna let you go first. I'm gonna say
me?
Mine. Yeah.
So favorite scene, I'd probably have to choose. I don't know. It's the whole sequence of them kind of going backwards into the what do you call it? The plane, the
Boeing?
airport,
Yeah.
where they're going backwards with
Yeah.
Kat, and they're going through that whole thing, and then we see everything kind of unravel. Like, oh, that was him this whole time.
When you figured out,
and you know, I enjoyed that a lot. I think knowing how stuff has happened makes it a little more interesting, but at the same time, with this type of movie, it was just really hard for me to kind of wrap my head around.
Yeah, totally.
But my favorite quote is from Protagonist, and it's when he gets caught by Sator, and he says like kill him or something, and John David Washington just goes, "What? No balls in my throat?"
Yeah. That's great.
I love it. It's so funny.
That's so good.
That's actually what he said when he originally threatened him, and then it started because he was like, I'm gonna take you out. I'm gonna take you out. Yeah. He's like, so when did you start sleeping with my wife? And then he goes,
not
I haven't.
yet.
Not yet.
Yeah,
And
not yet.
Like, oh, and he goes, how would you like to be killed?
And then he goes,
I'm
gonna take you out into a field. I'm gonna cut off your balls and shove them down your throat.
He's like, oh, okay, geez.
Yeah, no. Oh god.
Great.
For me, I feel like I don't have a favorite quote per se. I have a favorite conversation. And it's between Protagonist and Neil, and he says, "What's happened happened. I get it now, but it's harder to take things on. But it's harder to take things on trust from people speaking half truths." And Neil says, "That's not fair." Protagonist says, "You were a part of this before we met. Were you working for Priya?" Neil says, "No." The protagonist says, "Who recruited you, Neil?" And then Neil says, "Can't possibly do you any good to know that right now. When this is over, we're still standing and you still care, then you can hear the story of my life, okay?" And then obviously we hear about this at the end.
Haven't you found out by now?
Yeah, he's like,
it was you.
Dumb?
Yeah.
I feel like
and then that
he's
kind of
pretty
brings
dumb for not figuring that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it kind of you as a viewer of this film, you go full circle, sorry. You're like, "Oh, holy shit, like he did all of this. We just didn't know it yet."
Oh yeah.
So the protagonist is the protagonist, and that's why it makes sense at the end.
It's awesome. And then for me, my favorite scene is the fighting scene in the kitchen. It's really great. The choreography is fantastic.
That's another one of mine too. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That's before everything got so complicated.
Yeah, exactly. That was when it was still okay.
It was very simple.
More simple stuff.
Yeah, and now to wrap it up and tie it with a bow, we rate these movies on 3 different scales: acting, plot, and overall. And out of 10, what do you have for your ratings?
So am I supposed to do acting and plot and overall? Okay.
Each out of 10.
1 out of 10.
I would have to go. I'm gonna move the plot down to like an 8.7. Are we allowed to do decimals?
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
If not, I'll just round it up to a 9. It's
All
like
right.
it's good, but it definitely like Vincent definitely has made points where it definitely has holes. If you don't watch YouTube videos on it, to me it's perfection because I did that.
Right.
But to someone like.
But the thing is, I shouldn't.
The whole point of watching movies is to watch.
Exactly. I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to spend money to watch a movie and then have to go home and watch 20 minutes of YouTube videos afterwards.
Yeah, I get that.
It's like a weird It's like going out to like the ballpark. You're paying money to see something you could see at home, and it's like that's a bad comparison.
But it's a different experience.
Yeah. It's an experience. It's a learning experience, whatever. But so I would probably say plot 9 out of 10 because I think it could be more clear. Acting, I think, is probably like a 9.7, 9.9 because there's some times where it's like, like I said, why are you saying this line? Like even if the script writers gave it to you, please don't do it. But that shouldn't really take that much out. So I'm gonna go with like a 9.8, right in between. Overall, I'm gonna give this movie like a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay. Wow, that's pretty high.
It is. It's high praise.
Extremely high.
High praise. I'll go with a 9.4. I'll jack it down just a bit.
Okay.
just a point.
Just
one
a little
point.
bit.
Just a 0.1.
For me, I'm gonna go acting an 8. The plot of this movie, I'm gonna give, because when I think about it, the plot of this film is really, really intense and cool. So I want to give it an 8. But the fact that it's so confusing in the beginning, like first, second watch, I want to bring it down. So I'm sitting at like a 7.5 to 8. I'm right in between. But I really did enjoy this movie the more I've watched it. Yeah. So like
this guy gave a Parasite a 3 out of 5. So
I've actually never seen Parasite.
Parasite's
I could actually watch Parasite now that I watch things with subtitles.
Yeah.
But beforehand, I was very against that because subtitles always took me away from the movie.
Yeah. Another round's another good one with subtitles. That's Mads Mikkelsen. So fucking good in that. I love it.
So yeah, I think since we don't normally do decimals, I'll bring it up to an 8 for the plot. And then overall, I'm gonna give it an 8 because, like I said, I really did enjoy it.
Okay.
It's just
that's respectful.
it was so confusing for the first 2 years of me watching this movie every now and then.
3 years.
Totally.
Almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost 3 years.
Gosh, yeah.
So
It's been a
well, I
while.
didn't watch it the first year it came out. I finally watched it when we were on a
I
plane.
watched it with the theaters like
Yeah.
Vincent.
So I think I am. What did I say? 7, 8, and 8. So because this movie is good, I really did enjoy it. It's just
So that's a 4 out of 5 on
Yeah.
the whatchamacallit, on the movie app.
on Letterboxd.
Letterboxd.
If you guys don't have Letterboxd, download Letterboxd. We're not sponsored,
Are we plugging our Letterboxd too?
but yeah, if
You
you
have
want
it?
to.
We have the one shot letterbox.
Yeah, but we
seriously do?
don't use it
Yeah.
though.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen that.
I have
Yeah, that's his.
access to it, but John
I
has
don't.
all the password and email for it. He just doesn't log into
No,
it.
that's because I use my own.
Do you have your own?
No,
you just
I
have
just
the
have the
one-shot?
one shot one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna follow that one after this.
Yeah.
All right.
There's
Well, mine
nothing
is
on
just-
it though.
There's probably a couple movies. I don't
Yeah.
like write reviews. I just
Yeah,
I'm like, it's like a
No, yeah.
it's
I
like a
get it.
3.5 star movie.
I write like small reviews.
Yeah, he writes like
Um,
full on reviews.
So
Yeah.
does on
And I get percentages.
Alex does
on
too.
Q'd, Jason writes fucking
Oh, I
novels.
don't doubt it. I don't doubt
Yeah,
it.
no, I can't do that.
I liked Q'd. Q'd was good because it's like you have 3 buttons. You liked it, you didn't like it,
That
or
makes
it was
sense,
like
Yeah,
eh.
You can
it's
do
the
that
same
on
thing as
Letterboxd
Letterboxd.
too.
Yeah.
Like you can get more complicated if you choose to do it.
Yeah,
Like,
But, like,
Letterboxd is.
I feel
Yeah.
like Q'd you can see more, like you can see more new things, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that looks interesting. Let
Yeah,
me cue that
yeah.
up.
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't just show like okay, like obviously. I
It
know
doesn't
this
show like
movie.
top movies or whatever
yeah.
Letterbox does.
Yeah,
Um,
Letterboxd is great though. What's yours for the
I think my Letterboxd is probably just Jay Buffa. I would assume. Let me find it real quick.
I'm pretty sure.
I think
mine
I
is-
still have Letterbox.
You better
Um,
download it. You
I
better
think
get
I
it.
think I still have it downloaded.
Yeah, my Letterboxd is just Jay Buffa. So
Yeah, mine
follow
is,
that and check us out. I have some. I don't really write any reviews. I just give them scores. So-
JBUFFA in case anybody was wondering.
And follow the One Shot Movie Pod.
And then
on
you guys have to start
Letterboxd.
posting on it now.
Yeah, now I have to. That's
And,
another social media you can run.
Oh,
Yeah, you'll have a fun time with that.
That's great.
And mine is Noah MV7, NOAH MV7. I just post a lot of reviews on that, but I
Yeah.
don't go long. When people write long reviews,
It makes you not want to read it.
it makes you not want to read it. Number one, and number two, like I just want to write reviews to people who are curious about the movie
Yeah.
and like if they should watch it. I want to be like, oh, like this is the like. I'll talk about like all the score, the plot, whatever. But like when people like do like paragraphs for each, it's like
It's annoying.
nobody wants to watch a movie to hear what you have to say about it. They
Yeah.
want to watch. They want to like see what is good about it, and then if they like it, they'll watch
Mhm.
it. So that's why I try to keep it like short in paragraphs. You know.
Is that
Yeah.
it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, my profile pic's a little weird, but I just
All right.
I don't know, I just threw one in there.
So the One Shot has followed you.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
Um,
Excellent.
So now, time for me. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I don't care.
It's
I'm
all
gonna
right.
say it. So acting, I think it was very, very good. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Mhm.
You know, John David Washington, Robert Pattinson
Yeah,
did a
I
great
agree.
job. You know, Kat, she
Totally.
did a great job as
Becky,
well.
yeah.
I think everybody in this movie did a fantastic job playing their parts. Plot. I'm sorry,
4.
but it's got to be like a 5.
Okay.
I knew you were gonna
It's
say
just
5.
it's
Higher
like
than I
way,
thought.
it's just like way too confusing to keep me entertained and keep me engaged. I
get it.
couldn't keep up with it, and every single time they tried to explain it, I kept getting lost. There was nothing like they could have done
Definitely.
to
Okay.
keep me interested. I liked all the action. I did. I liked, I like certain things, but to me, that's why I'm not giving it like a 2 or like,
Definitely,
a
yeah.
1. Because there were certain things that were interesting and kept me engaged and,
Yeah.
kept me focused on this movie.
Like you could
Yeah.
see the end goal.
Right.
Like
they
that-
got to
that's
stop
not
the
hidden.
world from ending.
Exactly.
It had somewhat of a story,
And the concepts are like a little.
but it was
It's just
a
so
little.
it's so out there. that
Yeah.
it's hard to narrow down the actual specifics of what this movie is.
Right.
Because it's not about the relationships of these people at all. It's not-
actually, it's about their future relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not about the present relationships. It's not really
Yeah.
about stopping the World War. I think it's
It's just living what you're supposed to live.
yeah.
Yeah.
What has
Exactly.
happened.
What is
I know it always comes back to that. And
Yep.
from this video that you sent me, the masterpiece video, I feel like it explains it so well. So if you guys want to check that out, I think it's why Tenet is a masterpiece on
Understood
YouTube.
masterpiece, yeah.
Yeah, and
It's so good.
it's such a great YouTube video. And I only watched the first like 8 minutes of it because I was at work, and I didn't get.
It's only like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's not
pretty
too
short.
long, but it helped me understand this movie a lot more than how I was this morning.
Yeah, it's definitely that's what I love about this movie is that it's not like a regular movie, you know? It's kind of like you have
just
to
gave
watch
John
it.
the dirtiest look.
It's all
But
right.
it's like it's true though. Like this movie you have to watch multiple times. Like
It's just one of
and
those
you already
movies
said it,
like
you know?
Inception, like Interstellar.
Maybe he did that on purpose. Maybe he wants you to spend more money.
Maybe.
Yes.
Christopher Nolan,
Yeah.
big guy, big money guy. So
Yeah.
Maybe. So we'll leave it at that.
I didn't even give my overall rating.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, all
My
right.
God.
I don't. Maybe we just don't even want to hear it
Jesus.
because we know it's gonna be low.
So
7.
my overall rating is a 6, actually.
oh, okay.
Okay.
I understand it.
You know, because the acting was very good. Plot was the only thing that kind of dragged me away from it. I figured I'd go kind of meet
In
in the middle. Meet in the middle there.
Yeah.
I think a 6 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't love it, but like
For what you've said, you've more than justified why you should give it a 6. Like if someone walked up to me in the street and said 6, I'd be like,
Okay,
I
give
disagree.
me a reason.
Yeah, and then
give me reason.
and then they
hold
would
your
have
ground.
to talk for about 1.5 hours
Yeah.
about why. So, but I understand totally. 6
Yeah.
is also pretty good. That's above
it's above average.
50% for a movie. There's some really bad movies out there.
I
This
could have
is-
completely shit on it,
Yeah.
but like I
Yeah.
didn't.
Well,
exactly.
I gave
Yeah.
an honest review and my honest opinion on this
Definitely,
this
yeah.
movie.
Well, the new
Totally.
Ant-Man movie is sitting at a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Yo,
So
don't tell me that.
it is.
Yikes.
So yeah,
That's
I'm
pretty
gonna see
rough.
that in an hour or so.
Pretty rough.
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
Marvel's been taking a lot of hits lately.
they have. We talked about that.
63
Yeah, we talked about the how
means it
Marvel
opened
in the
movies.
that
Doctor
right?
Strange.
Yeah.
In the Doctor Strange episode.
Multiverse of mid.
Yeah, pretty much.
It wasn't like as bad as I thought though.
No.
No,
people
it
were
wasn't. It was
crapping
just
on it.
not very great.
It was
The expectation was a lot higher than what we actually got.
People expected
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I expected.
Yeah, I expected it. To
I
be
think
really good,
everybody
but-
expected Toby to show up, but it's like he
Yeah.
literally just showed up. Why are they gonna bring him back again?
Yeah,
I know. It
That's
didn't
like
make sense.
wasting the nostalgic
Yeah.
feeling. You have to use that momentum.
You're gonna
You
like
can't just always do
overuse
it.
him now.
Exactly.
I know.
It's a waste.
So yeah, if you guys want to hear more about Multiverse of Madness, go check that episode out. That is the one that came out recently.
I think.
I think so.
Yeah, it wasn't
Depending
like
on
Who
when
the hell-
depending
Who
on
the hell knows?
depending on when this episode
yeah,
drops.
when this comes out, but it was last month.
It came out
Month and a half
December.
like
December.
We
in
recorded it.
December.
We recorded it December. It came out first week.
First week of
or
February.
second week of February.
Yeah. So recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check that out if you want more in depth on that movie. So that really wraps up this episode.
That's a wrap.